Research by the team at Proofpoint shows 23% of Australia's top hospitals lack basic cybersecurity measures. Joining us today to outline what is happening is Steve Morose from Proofpoint. It's good to see you again. What did this research uncover about hospital cybersecurity? This is private, sensitive stuff. Take us through it.
Sure is, Mike. Good to see you and great to be with you again. So firstly, DMARC. It's a very important protocol. It helps protect senders from making sure bad things don't get out. And what we found with our research, we analysed Australia's 70 top-ranked private and public hospitals. Good news, 100% have now implemented some form of DMARC protection. That's up from 97% in 2023. The not so good news is only 77% of them have properly implemented DMARC to the highest level, which is reject. That means blocking suspicious emails. On a positive note, we need some positives here. It's up from 64% in 23. Now, this is for the bad stuff, Mike.
Okay.
23% of them have suboptimal protection. So all that secret information, that personal information that we have with healthcare, 16 of them are sitting in monitor mode, so effectively doing nothing, and 3% in quarantine, which again is just putting it somewhere to analyze later.
And there are these things where it's like having a reactive approach rather than a proactive approach is stubbing a lot of people's toes. But how does DMARC work, and why is it important for protecting email communication? It's obviously something we rely on each and every day.
Look, I like to look at it as healthcare always talks about prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
In cybersecurity, prevention is also better than cure, right? So it's the same sort of thing. Now, the consequences of not having DMARC is that your brand or your domain can be impersonated, and hackers can pose as the organization, but tricking customers and employees and partners for financial gain. And I can give you two examples of some major breaches that we had. So MediSecure was one that was a major breach in April 24. So they do digital prescriptions. I know we all use those these days, right? In telehealth.
Yep.
They had a ransomware attack, pretty significant. Approximately 12.9 million Australian records were affected. That's one of the largest in nation's history. What did they take? Names, date of births, addresses, Medicare numbers, expiry, prescriptions, all of it ended up on the dark web. About 6.5 terabytes, which is truckloads. The impact is they are no longer in business. Now, the sole provider of digital scripts is now a company called ERX. There's ongoing investigations. The early indicators show that it was an exploit through a third party.
Yeah, right. Okay, there we go. That is a great example of what not to do. How can we avoid it? Let's get into it further. What are the risks of not implementing DMARC at the highest level? Now, is that more than what we're talking basics here?
Well, the basics is you've got to protect your brand and you've got to protect your identity. But there's lots of other things that healthcare organizations need to do, but many organizations also need to do, and that's to implement a human-centric platform. And what that means is this is a people problem. The attackers are targeting people. They're tricking people into giving away their information, giving away their passwords, and then they use that to gain access. So they don't actually hack, they actually log in, and then they move around the network, as we saw with another breach with a company called Genie, a major fertility clinic.
Yeah.
They were by ransomware, but effectively somebody gave up their credentials and then got access.
Steve, let's talk best practices. What would you say patients should be doing, and of course staff as well? What sort of things do they need to be following along with to stay protected from leaks like this?
Well, look at it in two ways, right? The first thing is around what should the staff do, right? And the first thing is, if you get an email, we've got to look at the validity of the email and look for anything suspicious. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you've got to be cautious of any communication that attempts to request you to log in. So we've got to second guess those sorts of emails. The one that I talk about the most is password best practices. you don't use the password to your corporate systems or critical systems and use that same password on everything. Sometimes it's a third party that's compromised. Passwords appear in the dark web, and then attackers use that information and they log in and they get access. So simply put, if it sounds too good to be true, or you're feeling pressured to act quickly, these are strong indicators that it's potential fraud.
Yeah, 110%. Steve, if people want to find out a bit more about this topic, perhaps get some assistance from Proofpoint or read that research in more detail, where's the best avenue to connect and engage with you lot?
So the two best ways is, the first one is go to our website, proofpoint.com, and you can search DMARC. And the second one is you can follow me on LinkedIn, because we do post a lot about these reports and a lot of the insights and recommendations that organisations can follow.
Great stuff from you. And again, thank you for joining us on the program, bringing this to our attention, as always, right here on Ticker.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Mike.